Overseas airfares from Australia are set to get cheaper as airlines look to boost capacity. Qantas, Singapore Airlines and Thai Airways are expected to add more flights in the coming months, while Turkish Airlines will enter the market, potentially driving airfares down by more than 10%. Joining me now live is Flight Centre Chief Executive Graham Turner. Graham, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Where is capacity at the moment?
Look, it's a tale of several different stories, Danica. In the US, Trans-Pacific, the capacity is quite good. We've had quite a bit come in, particularly United Airlines, but particularly through the Middle East, which is mainly Emirates, Etihad, and Qatar. We're still well below even 2019 levels, and if you accept that demand's already gone up quite a lot. Just with people travelling normally increase about 4% a year, maybe 5% a year. So that's probably we're still only at about 50% of where we need to be, particularly through the Middle East. Singapore and Asia are coming back quite well, but we've still got a fair way to go, and we need that capacity to get airfares down for travellers, for us as travel agents, but also for travellers.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned, so Qantas, Singapore Airlines and Thai Airways are expected to add more flights in the coming months. What impact do you think that this will have on pricing levels?
Look, there's absolutely no doubt more capacity will not only make it easier for people to get seats so they can travel, but it'll bring prices down significantly. We saw this when Qatar started to go directly from Doha into New Zealand, 3 flights a week extra. And it brought the fares down over 12%. We know it'll bring fares down. I believe it'll be significantly more than 10%. It'll probably be more like 15% as the capacity comes back in, particularly to Europe and the UK, because that's where we are short, particularly through the Middle East. And you will see the Trans-Pacific, particularly the States and Canada, coming off. I think over the next few months, particularly low and shoulder season, because there's quite a bit more capacity in there. We're basically back to 2019 levels, although fares are still relatively high. So it's going to take a little bit more time to get the capacity where we really need it, so that fares are more affordable.
Well, it's certainly positive news, particularly for those who are planning to travel next year. When do you expect we can see these more cheaper flights?
Well, you can already see it. I mean, for example, at the moment, I was talking to one of our travel consultants downstairs here in the shop this morning, and she's finding fares around that $2,500 in May and June, which is fairly peak season to Europe. Now, most of the fares around the $3,500. So, already there is some, if you're prepared to book reasonably well ahead, and you've got someone who can really look out for you, there's no doubt that you will be able to find some cheap fares, but you can't delay it because there's only a limited number of seats put to these cheap airfares, particularly in that high season, May, June, July to Europe, for example. They are around, and particularly, places like Fiji and Bali. Bali, there's quite cheap airfares around. They're struggling to get the Australians back into Bali this year. They're tending to go to places like Japan or even Europe or North America. So it's just a matter of looking around, finding people, travel agents, or search online if you've got the time, and you will find some pretty good bargains, but they're not everywhere.
All right, well, get in early. That's the advice. Good to hear that prices are coming down. Graham Turner, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Danica.